Cool. Where's my share screen? There it is. All right, let's get this pulled up here. If you guys have any questions, just drop them in the chat. That way I'll see them. Can't really see when the hands are raised. All right. All right, so first thing, right, we talked about human movement last week, and I really feel that when people start moving more and they start to train more, then diet tends to follow suit, right? I think a lot of people, I think we all may at one point have dieted, for weight loss and or weight gain. But when we move, we tend to eat better. When we train, we tend to eat better, which is why we always start with foundation of human movement. And now we're going to move into nourishment. First, I want to look at like the definition of diet. Diet is simply just the kinds of foods that people eat on a daily basis, right? It's just what you eat. We don't have to, but for some reason in our culture, we have to label that, right? I'm paleo, I'm keto, I'm whatever. It's just regurgitated the same thing, but all your diet is just the things that you consume on a normal basis. Okay. Health is a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being, right? Many of us, it used to be just, the absence of disease or not being sick, but it's a complete physical, mental, and social well-being. And I was going to dive into diet culture tonight because I think it's one of the worst things that's ever been created. But we're going to talk about that like on a different talk. But hold on. So health, okay. Anytime we talk about being healthy, I always wondered that, like, oh, that person was so healthy. Like, what does that mean? What does that entail? Like, because they look good, right? Were they mentally good? Were they socially good? So when we talk about being healthy, that's why we always look at environment. Do we have all these things in order that's going to give us a well-rounded bill of health, okay? And then the last word we want to look at is nutrition. It's just providing ourselves with the food necessary for health and growth. So the reason we want to look there is the health. Health is the food that you're eating, providing you complete physical, mental, and social well-being. And for the majority of the people in this country, I would say that their nutrition is not providing them with physical, mental, and social well-being. Okay. We're going to talk about weight loss just because it'll kind of bring context to things here in a minute, right? I went on a rant today, eat less, calories in versus calories out, right? They just tell people it's so easy, just eat less, right? Just calories in versus calories out. It's so easy. Okay, here's what everyone's obsessed with when it comes to food. Calories is the energy needed to raise the temperature of 1 gram of water to 1 degree Celsius. I, for the last 10 years, have been unable to figure out why we've become obsessed with this biochemical term for food, right? We think calories and macros when it comes to food. We are obsessed with counting a number that it talks about energy needed to raise the temperature of water. To me, it doesn't make sense. And a calorie outside the body is not the same as a calorie inside the body. It doesn't just work like, oh, here's 1 calorie in, 1 calorie out. Like, yes, again, we talked about that last week. Coaches and trainers like to try and take something that is so complex and make it into this simplistic point of view. And we saw that with movement, and we do the same with things like weight loss and weight gain. All right, so these numbers, here we go. So the global market for weight loss products and services will grow from 254.9 billion to 377.3 billion over the next 5 years. 45 million Americans go on a diet each year, and Americans alone spend $33 billion each year on weight loss products. Okay. Here's the next set of numbers. The obesity prevalence is 42.4% in 2017 and has gone up over 10% in the last 20 years. So we have a culture that is obsessed with dieting, but it also has the highest obesity rate. But I thought it was just as simple as calories in versus calories out. Just eat less. So I want to take a look. So here's this World Health Organization. So the whole country, the whole world is obese. Almost 40% of the adults in our entire world are overweight or obese. And the last thing on this slide here is obesity is preventable. Okay. Most of the world's population lives in countries where overweight and obesity kills more people than being underweight. Just calories in versus calories out, though. And here's where I disagree with the World Health Organization, right? It's an imbalance between calories consumed and calories expended. Just energy balance, right? It's that one, the temperature to weigh 1 gram of water, 1 degree Celsius is what they're saying is the issue. So what I want to look at is what's called the obesity system map. So yes, energy balance. We need to consume food in order to do things. And when we do things, we need to consume more food so we have energy to do more things. Okay, so that's what this red circle is. This is what we see an importance of physical need, and we have to make an effort to acquire energy, and we have to preserve energy so we have available energy to do things. And this is just this fundamental circle. Okay, I can send you guys this report. So this obesity system map was developed by what's known as Foresight. They're a department of the science in the United Kingdom. And they have put together this map of all the relevant factors and interdependencies that determine the condition of obesity. Okay, so now we look at obesity. We also have to look at all these here. So we have social psychology, individual psychology, physical activity environment, individual physical activity, physiology, food consumption, and food production. Here's what the map looks like filled in. So this is everything that plays factor into obesity. Just calories in versus calories out, though, right? So then we'll put these back around so you can kind of see. So all this shit's interconnected. This is just individual physical activity and physical activity environment. These are all the things as a coach we need to look at. So everything on this map are things that I, as a coach, have to keep in mind when working with someone on nutrition. Right? So when we look at physical activity, you can see, I'm not going to read through all these, but like it's very complex, this obesity epidemic, whatever you want to call it, right? So we said food was macros and calories, but here's another thing. Food's also micronutrients, vitamins and minerals, zoochemicals, which is chemicals we get from animal foods, phytochemicals, which is chemicals we get from plants, fiber, and water. When we eat food is one of the single greatest things that expresses our genes. So we have genetics, and then we have epigenetics. Epigenetics is how our environment expresses our genetics. So our environment and the food we eat are the number one things that decide how our genes are expressed. Okay? Food tells our body to do this, to not do certain things, to release certain hormones, to not release certain hormones. Okay, let's go a little deeper. Now, food, to me, this is where we've lost, I think, our relationship with food. We've lost what food really is. Food tells a story, right? Food talks about how we eat, where we eat, what we eat. It communicates who we are and what we think and what's important to us, right? It's our relationship with food that I think is what we need to take a step back and look at. For me, I used to count calories, macros. I competed in sports that required weight classes. But for me, growing up, like food, the dinner table was like a sacred time. We cooked. And the dinner table, while mom was cooking, we talked about our days. How are you doing? This is where we caught up. It's where we did homework. We'd spend 2 to 3 hours around the dinner table, clean up. Everybody, it was a part of a family effort, right? So that's ingrained in me. That's what food means to me, right? I enjoy food. I took my mom out to a dinner the other night. We went to this nice Italian place and we just enjoyed ourselves. We enjoyed the company, right? So now you see food brings us together. It allows us to be with one another. A good meal with good people and good conversation and good drinks. That is one of those things that I feel is we're lucky to experience as humans. So what's the best diet? It's the one that's sustainable and provides you freedom, right? A lot of diets don't provide people freedom, right? They worry about, oh, this is a good food or a bad food. Oh, man, I'm going to have to work out for all the calories I had today, right? Oh, I got to earn my ice cream. No, man, like that's not freedom. Like your diet I want to preface this that a lot of you in the group aren't competing in a class in sports that have weight classes. If you are, that's a whole different discussion. If we want to talk about how to count calories and macros, that's a different discussion. But most of the people in this group, they're trying to live a better life, right? And food's important to that, right? So here's something I didn't know if I should put this in here, but whatever size and shape your body takes when you're taking the best care of yourself is the size and shape you're meant to be. I truly believe that. So if we look back at all those environment things and you're really knocking it out of the park with all those things and you're physically, mentally, and just socially, your well-being is like where it should be, the way your body looks is just a byproduct of your lifestyle. When people say they want to lose weight, they want to look better. But that's a mental thing. They want to like the way they look. Like that's, as a coach, our job is to dig into that mental side because it's much bigger and much deeper than just losing weight, right? It's coming to terms, and that's the topic of diet culture. But if you truly just take care of yourself, your body will take the shape and form it needs to be to survive. So these are the questions. I'm going to post these in the Discord for everybody. Okay, I want to start having a better conversation around food right? We said macros, calories are the first things we think of when we think of food and nutrition, and it kind of like breaks my heart, right? So what is food? What is food for you? What would you like food to be, right? How do you imagine it could be? And what is good nutrition? You know, Sarah, you and I have talked, like, you just don't like cooking. Food is more of a hassle for you, and that's fine, right? You know that. So we have to come up with ways to provide you with nutrient-dense food, right? Like Matt found his way. Hey, this is how I can get good food in, single ingredients into my body. And those are just conversations that you're going to, but these questions I feel are very important to answer. So whenever someone talks, I talk about their diet. I eat healthy. I'll ask them, how's that working for you? Because I eat healthy. Well, how do you feel? How's your energy? How's your mood? Do you feel athletic, right? If your diet and the way you're eating isn't really working for you, then it's not sustainable and it's not providing you with any freedom. Okay. Yeah. So Sean, overweight and obesity, like Sarah said, is the BMI. The BMI of 25 is overweight and anything over 30 is obese. Now, people get back and forth on this BMI thing. It's just a general way to categorize a large portion of the population, right? Like, so for me, I would be considered a high BMI because of my height and weight, but it's not, right? Let me stop sharing. Okay, so I'm going to stop there. I think that's all I wanted to do as far as nutrition goes. So yeah, to me, nutrition and food is much bigger for like what we're trying to do as humans than just counting calories and macros. Like, to me, counting calories and macros is a skill. So is cooking. Cooking is a lifelong skill that you're going to be able to take with you to cook for your significant others, your kids, if you have them. You know, when a group of 20 of us get together in St. Louis and I can pull a meal off for all y'all, right? We can choose the relationship we want to have with food, right? So as you can see, like, it's not as simple as just counting calories and or macros. It's bigger than that. As you saw with the obesity system map, it's much bigger than just calories in versus calories out. So that's all I got for my first talk on nutrition. I will open it up to you guys. I'm going to post those questions in the Discord. Whether you answer them or not is up to you, but I think to getting a better handle on nutrition, you start asking like what food is and what it means to you. Yeah. Questions? Okay. Sean, is that a question? I can't hear you.
There we go. How do you feel about people having two different definitions for what food is? Because like in a competitive season, food is fuel. That's the only way I'm going to really look at it. I'm going to count shit, do all that. And then outside of comp time, like it's just there to, like you said, experience, bring people together, and fuel whatever else I'm doing. So.
No, exactly. That's kind of, I was saying, like, if you compete in a sport that requires you to be a certain weight, or you're trying to make weight for a sport, that's a whole different conversation. But majority of people, their sport is life, right? Yeah. And there's no weight classes really in life. So, and that's the problem with like the diet culture thing, which is just one of the worst things in the world is this diet culture, is that we've put so much emphasis on how we physically look instead of the lifestyle, right? Your body being a byproduct of the lifestyle. But yes, when it comes to sports though, like that's a whole nother conversation. Like that's, yeah. So here's the thing. I used to, when I started out as a coach, I used to give people diets, right? I would give them, here's your calorie. I would take their body weight, the body weight they wanted to get to. I would calculate all their macros. I would plan all their meals out for them. And then we'd be great for 2 weeks. And then just shit would hit the fan. It wasn't sustainable, right? Because they were learning a new skill. You just count calories, man. Just count macros. Just weigh your food. It's just so simple. It wasn't working. This is how I got to where I am today. Yes, in some cases, I will use macros and calories for some people. But we always start by like what a lot of people don't, they think they're eating healthy. Like one of my clients, I said, hey, what are you eating for breakfast? She thinks she's eating healthy. She's having a bowl of Cheerios, right? That's not nutrient dense food, right? I was like, no, you can actually have like some sourdough toast, some eggs, and like a piece of bacon. She didn't realize like she could eat all that. Right. So it's like that education component of like just teaching people like what they can actually eat. And like I said, those are just tools, right? Macros are important, but like when we reduce, let's say, a steak down to its protein and fat content, we're also skipping over the micronutrients, the vitamin B's in it, the zincs, the minerals, like all that stuff is really important too. And those are just biochemical terms. And I really, it's funny if you look at it, when the explosion of nutrition information came out is when we started to see increases in obesity. And as you can see, obesity,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and but you can see as obesity continues to rise, the diet industry continues to make more money. They're failing people. It's not the right conversation. And I think if I'm like, to me, if I think people spent 3 months just cooking and knowing where their food comes, their body would change completely and they would love what their outcome would be. But some of us are busy. We can't cook. Or some of us don't want to cook.
Cooking and food quality.
Yep. I think those are the two. We've gotten away from like our cultures. If you study like the evolution of humans and food, the kitchen's where everything happened. We cooked. We learned from our grandmothers. And then the Industrial Revolution happened. And that's kind of when the nutrition thing started to happen. And then that's when obesity started to go up. And you look at like all the things, sugar's bad, carbs are bad, fat's bad, eggs are bad. Jesus, everything's bad. Right? But sugar's not bad. Carbs aren't bad. Fat's bad. Seed oils are bad. I think that's one of the worst things that was introduced to food was seed oils. It causes more issues than we realize. But I think if we learn to cook, right, because then you control the ingredients. All your ingredients have to be single source, for cooking. Yeah. We could talk about cooking. I don't know what people want to know about nutrition, so I just started with this. Like, but if nobody's got anything, I'm good. I'll keep it simple.
Yeah,
I have a question.
Oh, go ahead, Sarah.
What do you think about prolonged impact on metabolism from diet culture, from restricted eating, from counting macros? Is there such a thing as a prolonged impact on your metabolism? What does that look like?
So metabolism's just the like lump sum of chemical processes that your body does on a daily basis. So like every chemical process, everything that happens in your body is your metabolism. Restricted eating, low caloric eating, not getting enough fats, carbs, and protein, it's going to affect your hormones. And then we start to look at thyroid hormone issues and that how that affects the body. That's the thing people miss out on, is like the whole your gut has its own nervous system separate from our central nervous system. The enteric, it gets kind of passed over, but a lot of our neurotransmitters and hormones are made in our gut. And what makes those is the foods we consume and or don't consume. Your body has one thing, it just wants to survive. It's the same thing with movements, same thing with food. It will adapt to the situations you put it in, but the outcomes might not be what we want long term. But yes, the metabolism thing, people are, I can fire my metabolism up. Like, I don't, he's got a fast metabolism. Maybe, I don't know. But you can wreck your hormones by being in low calorie diets for too long. And we see this a lot with females, a lot of times with females. Because low calorie diets aren't good. They're just not. I don't know if that answers
Low
your question.
calorie and it does. Low calorie and low fat have had a huge impact on my hormones.
Yeah, that's
sure.
really important. That's super important. The right kinds of fat. Even carbs are super important. White sugar is actually really healthy for people. It's just, yeah. So like when people are on low carbs, they'll be like, oh, I've got all this energy. What that actually is that's cortisol corrosing through your veins. So yes, your body can produce the sugar and the glycogen it needs to function on a daily basis, but that's a backup system. The body's meant to break down carbohydrates and turn it into energy, not the reverse as like a backup mechanism. Now, if you're not, so here's if you're not active, you don't need that many carbs. You don't. But if you got a busy day, you can have some more carbs. Take note of how you feel after you eat. And I eat the same 5 things, really. It's just rice, potatoes, pasta, chicken, and steak. Chicken thighs. I don't like chicken breasts. You learned a couple simple recipes and you just, yeah. What else everybody got? Brian, did you have something, buddy?
Yeah, I was just my biggest struggle, I guess, would be like the social aspect, because, and it's not even myself. Like nutrition is the one, quote unquote, nutrition and food is like the one area of my life where I luckily don't struggle. I mean, I eat what I want, and I eat the same things. I eat 5-6 foods a day, maybe, and that's about it. I rarely deviate kind of from my plan, and I count macros and calories every day. Maybe one day a week I don't, and I actually really enjoy counting my macros. Like, it doesn't drive me insane. I don't get dogmatic. For me, it's just kind of keeping track of where I want to go. Like right now, I am quote unquote dieting. I'm cutting because I want to lower body fat, because I like having, a 6-pack in the summer, and I like fucking looking good. That's why I do it. And then when I get back into Muay Thai, obviously I have to fit inside a weight class. So it kind of sets me up for the future. But the biggest thing is like socially, like if I'm at work, I don't know, like people, like we had a cookout today and I already prepped my meals and I actually really had no interest in even eating the food, but I ate away from everyone else out of the fucking break room because they're gonna see me eating my Greek yogurt and honey and go, "Oh, what the fuck? You don't want to eat with us? What's your problem?" And I don't even want to say, "Hey, I'm dieting," because then it's just gonna get, "Why are you doing that? That's not healthy. You eat the same thing every day. You can't eat that. You should be doing this." And it's like, dude, holy shit, just leave me the fuck alone. Yeah, I don't know if anyone else has issues like that, or like socially is like the worst part for me.
Is it just socially at work?
Sometimes in public, but like it's really not that bad. Like I'm finishing up my cut actually tonight, but so like on this tomorrow I'm going to get some monk food, and then Thursday I'm gonna drink 2 bottles of wine and fucking eat ice cream and do what I want. Like I definitely have balance, but like there's out times in public where I'm like, nah, I don't want that. And they go, oh, you gotta diet and you gotta worry about this. And it's like, yeah, I do. That's what I like doing. But it's
Yeah,
just the annoyance of like, why are you worrying about what the fuck I'm eating? Worry about your own shit.
yeah, that's just how people are, though. It's kind of like deflecting onto you. Kind of just,
Yeah.
it's something
just
internally
annoying.
going. Yeah. The more you keep going around and surrounding yourself with like the people at work, you can't do anything about, so just shrug them off.
Right.
But like the more you keep surrounding yourself with people, like-minded people, like you're not going to get that.
Right.
Because I got it when I made like some big changes in my early 20s and started really getting back into taking care of myself. Like that's my social group. Oh, you're not going to drink with us this weekend. Oh, you're eating healthy now. It's like, yeah, I guess I am too good for you. Like I got shit to do, and it doesn't involve doing drugs and eating like shit every weekend anymore. I got other things I got to do.
Yeah, I think I did. That was a good way to put it. The way you said, health is kind of everything, and I never thought about the social aspect because normally I brush it off, but maybe it's just these last couple of weeks that's just kind of pissing me off. So I feel like someone's always got a comment, and it's always like the least unqualified people who have the most comments to say.
Yep, and they're the ones giving people advice too.
That's the thing, and and I was curious on like what you think. Like, what is? I mean, this is all relative, so I never. Like, what is low calorie, right? Like, what does that even mean? Like, for example, like I'm very lucky. I can eat like 4,000 calories a day and not gain a fucking ounce of weight. So like my dieting right now, I'm at like 2,800. And that to me is like low. Like I've never gone this low because I never had to. But to someone else, they'll see 2,800 and go, holy shit, I'm fucking stuffed. I can't eat another bite. So
most people need to be eating more. Most people need to be eating between like 25 and 28 at the least. 2,000 I think is too low.
Yeah, that's right. I was just curious because I'm a big proponent of eat more, move more instead of eat less, move less.
Well,
so like you see, what is low calorie? It's such a relative term, right?
Yeah, so I don't get caught up in that, right? It's like, hey, let's move, let's have an active life, let's train, and then let's just eat. Let's just eat. Like, don't even think about it. Like, this is what I mean. We've outsourced all these aspects of our health, our physical, mental, and social well-being to everybody else to tell us what to eat instead of like intuitively, like, I guess that's the new thing is intuitive dieting, whatever. Just right. So find the foods that you like and make some meals and see how you respond. Right. Like, hey, I'm still hungry. Like and it's just trial and error. You have to find what works for you. But I don't know, like that whole, and then Sarah, I don't know about you. You just don't like to eat. That's you're like an anomaly.
It's a hassle. Yeah, the whole thing's a hassle. I don't want to buy groceries. I don't want to cook food. I don't want to clean dishes. If they could just make a pill that would sustain me, I would take the pill and move on with my life.
Yeah, that's so wild. You're the first. I've been coaching for 15 years. I've never heard someone say that.
Yeah, I wish food could just disappear.
When you travel, Sarah, do you not get into like, oh hell yeah, I'm gonna eat this and I'm gonna try this place out, or you're just like, fuck it, whatever, grab the closest thing, we're gonna eat it?
No, traveling is the only time that I find satisfaction in food. I will eat every weird thing in a new culture. I ate a raw herring sandwich in Amsterdam. I'll try whatever weird food they've got there. But here at home, awesome. I wish it could just disappear. Yeah. Traveling's the only exception.
I respect that in a weird way. I get it.
Anybody else got anything? You guys I got nothing to do. So if you guys want to keep talking about nutrition or questions, supplements.
Do you even use any supplements right now?
Do I? Yes, I have
Yeah.
regular. So the most important supplement I think everybody needs to be on is magnesium, quality magnesium. That's where I start everybody. I do take high dose vitamin E, high dose vitamin K, vitamin A, the fat soluble vitamins. Ryan, why?
Yeah.
Magnesium is involved in over 3,000 processes in the body. We used to get it from the soil and from our drinking water, but our soil is dog shit now, and so is the water that we drink. So we have to supplement that. Now, here's a fun fact: most people's vitamin D is low is because they're low in magnesium. When your magnesium drops, your vitamin D drops.
I know that.
And yeah, so I use a supplement from Crucial 4. You take magnesium hydroxide and you add carbonated water, and it turns it into magnesium bicarb, which is like a pure form of magnesium. And I just put it in my water all day. But make sure you get like a high quality magnesium. Yeah, magnesium's is water. So magnesium's water soluble. So it means you're going to piss it out every day, which means it's super important. As opposed to like vitamin D is fat soluble. It'll be stored in your fat. So any excess vitamin D that you take orally, your body can't like regulate it like it does normally from food and or the sun. So it'll get stored in your fat. And then when you take too much vitamin D, it'll actually lower your vitamin K. It's just this ripple effect. Yeah, Sean, and I take like a high dose mineral type supplement. So I take a couple. So like beef liver is really healthy for people. It has like your copper, your zinc, your vitamin Bs, vitamin A's. I just don't like beef liver. So I supplement
like
it.
shit.
Yeah, it's disgusting. I like beef heart. Beef heart's good. Brains are good. Kidneys are good. I don't know. So Sarah, you could try different like nose to tail recipes. Eat some lung, eat some heart, eat some livers. Val, what's up? Got your hand raised. I think it's Val.
It's Susanna. I didn't change
Oh,
my
sorry.
last name on there. No, you're fine. I got to rename myself every time I come in, but
You're good.
so protein source, I was listening to a little podcast Corey Gregory did, and he was talking about how beef is a superior protein to like turkey or chicken. He said chicken's actually probably the least superior protein for just the way it interacts with your body. I clearly didn't pay enough attention, but I'm just curious your thought on that is, I mean, because I guess it goes back to that calorie and macros. People, I think, have this belief that a protein's a protein, a carb's a carb, a calorie is a calorie, no matter what. I mean, if I eat 1,500 calories of cookies a day and I limit it to 1,000, now I'm in a calorie deficit. I'm gonna lose weight, right?
In theory.
Yeah, but no, like, do you think that one protein source is more beneficial to you than the others, I guess, when comparing like animal proteins with each other and then animal protein versus plant protein? So I was vegan for 18 years. And this was probably 7 or 8 years ago, but I started lifting more, getting more into lifting, kind of less cardio because of injuries. And I did kind of a little experiment. I did check my body fat, did a bunch of measurements, and I made the choice to switch to animal proteins. And I lost a lot of fat and I gained a lot of muscle mass in a very, very quick period of time as compared to doing the same exercise regime and only consuming plant proteins.
Yeah, so animal proteins I think are better. This isn't to take away from anybody's personal choices on animals. but we are meant to eat animal proteins, and they have essential amino acids in them that you can't get in plant proteins. Brian and I have talked about this. I do very well on beef. I don't do well on like chicken or turkey or pork. I just, high quality beef to me just tastes better. I function better. I just feel better. Even gamey like venison, lamb, elk, bison, I just do better with the red meats. So I don't have anything to back it up. It's all anecdotal. But I know a lot of people who consume a lot of red meat do feel better. I'm talking like quality red meat for like, so like we have a quarter cow coming for our freezer from the local farmer. So that's, yeah. I do enjoy chicken thighs though, man. They're tasty, little sons of bitches. And then eggs. Go ahead.
My nutritionist suggests that we benefit from proteins that are native to our ancestry. Like if you're from Iceland, you benefit from eating the meats that are native to Iceland. If your culture's from Africa, you benefit your body is most adapted to absorb those proteins.
Yeah, so I really
I don't know if that's accurate, but
I really agree with that. So I have one recommendation for a book. It's called Deep Nutrition.
Oh, it's a good book.
It's really heavy on like the Weston Price side of things. And it really talks about like the culture of eating and how we've gotten away from that. And like Sarah, you said, like I very well believe that. Like I'm from Europe. My genes come from Europe. So I potatoes, man, I just can pound potatoes and pasta. It does well for me. Yeah, like and Sean, like I don't do well with like ground turkey or chicken. It's gross. It just doesn't taste right for me. And but Deep Nutrition, it's a pretty heavy, science heavy book. It's about 450 pages, but it'll really open up your eyes. And I read it about 5-6 years ago, and that's when I changed my approach to nutrition. Because I was doing like just the chicken and rice and broccoli every day because I had to put weight on. But I agree. Knowing your heritage and then just exploring the foods that your culture ate and then learning how to make some of those foods, I think is a fun thing to do. One, not only just to learn about who you are as a person, right? To me, food tells a story about who you are. But I think that's a cool thing you guys could do too, is what's your heritage, and then look at some simple recipes that they made. And if you look a lot at the cultures, they use the whole animal, right? So the last couple of years I've been learning how to use the whole animal, and it's been fun. Susanna, do you have another question?
Just real quick,
Yeah.
protein to body weight ratio, just your opinion, because depending on whose article you read, you can get a little all over the place with that.
I mean, if we're counting, it's the normal 0.8 to 1.2, depending on your activity level, or 1 gram per body weight. But I think we eat too much. I think we can overconsume protein.
Because I know a lot of the stuff I read, I mean, typically as a female, we don't get enough protein. And I think it's just the way maybe society has structured how females should be eating, have a fucking salad 3 meals a day, bullshit.
Yes, females, in my experience, tend to not eat enough protein. I just have protein with every meal is my suggestion. It's just eggs for breakfast, and then chicken thighs for lunch, and then flank steak for dinner. That was my day. Just try to have protein in every meal, and then eating it. Like I always found, like if I eat a heavy protein and fat meal, I don't get full. It's when I throw the carbs in is when I get really full. So like when you mix the macros, like carbs and protein, or protein and fat, but just have protein in every meal. Vegetables, I don't care. I'm a big advocate of fruit. Vegetables tend to make my stomach all goofy, so I don't eat them. Ryan, do you think you can overeat red meat? I don't know. Sure, you can overeat anything. Yeah, balance. I mean, we eat it. I don't eat it. I eat it probably every day. But I don't know. I just love it.
Yeah, well, that's like the same thing. Like me and my wife, well, we could eat like 90-10 ground beef and potatoes like every day.
Yeah.
And like just because we know like we're fine off of it. Like it doesn't hurt us. So
Yeah.
I just wondered.
Here's the other thing. Y'all got to get your blood work done. That's really important, is to get your hormone panel and your blood work done. Like your food's going to decide that it's going to have a big impact on a lot of that your environment and things of the such. So I always recommend getting your blood work done once or twice a year at the least. And then, yeah, the recommended values and stuff is a whole nother conversation. But yeah, you can overeat anything. But see, like tonight, every night, I like to have some popcorn. I make homemade popcorn with a little butter and a little salt, and I throw like a sprig of rosemary in there. Like that's my little treat. And my wife and I wind down for the night, right? And that's just our thing. Some nights we'll have a little bit of ice cream. It's just like I don't like. We call them pedestal foods, good food and bad food. People put foods on pedestals. Like there's no good food or bad food. Just like life just is. Food just is. Like there's no bad foods. Yes, there's foods you probably shouldn't be eating that much. But if you want some ice cream, man, like I don't want to miss out on like the joys of a good dessert, right? And then I don't want to feel bad afterwards. That's the worst. When I was counting things or hitting macros and calories, is I felt guilty having a nice dessert. I don't like that. That's not the freedom your diet should provide. Yeah. Tangent. What I got to put? So questions, I'll put those questions in the Discord. The supplement for magnesium. There's a lot of research on magnesium with depression and anxiety. It's fascinating research that they're using to treat depression and anxiety. Do your own research. I'm a big advocate of you educating yourself, but if you struggle with sleep, depression, or anxiety, magnesium is pretty important for that stuff. So I'll post that supplement in the Discord also, where I get it from. But quality magnesium, because if you get bad magnesium, you're gonna have the shits. You're gonna have diarrhea pretty bad. Which can happen. Mute Sean there. Anybody else got anything? Appreciate you guys being here tonight. Guys, ladies, girls, theys, thems.
Yeah, if anybody wants to watch a good video, I mean, I think it's good. I'm a big Stan Efferding guy. Like, he's a big red meat proponent, fruits, veggies, micronutrients, things like that. He has I would say it's like 2.5 hour YouTube video. It's fucking awesome. He kind of touches on like a little bit of everything, like all the questions people had. He gives like the science side of it and like the real life side of it, like how practical it actually is to incorporate a lot of things. You just type in Stan Efferding Iceland, and it's awesome. I recommend everyone watches that video.
Yeah, so Stan Efferding is the main guy behind what's known as the vertical diet.
That's like the closest thing I follow, I guess.
Yeah, it's a really simple approach to diet. I mean, it falls in line. It's just another label and a name on something that's already been talked about a million times.
Yeah, he just
over.
markets it and makes money off it. It's basically what he does. He was smart enough to say, this is my idea, and I'm going to make money off it. But it's red meat. It's a little bit of chicken. It's fruit, a little bit of veggies. I mean, pretty much how I already eat. And I'm just like, oh, this makes it. Now it has a name.
Sarah, have you asked him to do a hormone panel?
I've asked multiple doctors, specialists, regular doctor, GYN, GI. Nobody will do them.
Have you ever looked into like the lab? So like a Quest lab?
No, I can look there. Most of what I find online is from men, testosterone testing.
Huh. Yeah, I would look at like a Quest lab. I'll have to look into it a little bit. I'd ask that question in the group. I don't know. My GP's always done a hormone panel for me because I've asked. And I will say that most of like the RDAs, the recommended dietary stuff, and like the calories is based on like white men. So all the RDAs for like women and then pregnant women are based off of like white men. It's kind of crazy. When I was looking into like the pregnancy stuff, like, and you start looking at like the reasons babies are being born a certain way, it's because pregnant women aren't getting the nutrition that they need for their babies. Is wild. Ryan suggested if you looked into a functional medicine doctor. Quest Diagnostics,
Actually,
so
Yeah, like the only reason I said that is because like I know like that's what me and my wife have done in the past for blood work, and they'll always run blood work. Like they'll almost like overdo it. Like the last time, like I had like 15 vials he took. So they just run the gambit. So just thought.
yeah,
I love it.
yeah, go ahead, ask that in the Discord. And Matt and Bonnie might have somebody, and there might be other girls females, ladies, that might have that question. But at least thyroid panel, thyroid is going to be a big indication. Women have, what do? Women have, so they did it with my mom, right? She had a goofy thyroid. So what did? They threw her on a thyroid medication and didn't fix her environment. And then just fucked everything else down the line for the next 20 years. Same with birth control, right? They're just ruining women's lives by putting them on birth control. It's another soapbox. Don't fuck with your hormones, man. Don't. Your food is a big influence on your hormones. Susanna, do you still have a question, or just forget this?
I'm good. I think, I don't know, are we going to get more into like maybe a supplement topic and go down that rabbit hole on another night?
Yeah. So whatever so next week I'm gonna have, if there's a topic people want covered, I was gonna open it up to the group. Supplements we could talk about. My thing is, real quick on supplements, is supplements aren't regulated by anybody. FDA does not regulate your supplements, so you have to be careful with what you're taking, because they can get away with a lot on their labels of not actually being what's actually in there. And the word supplement is to supplement a diet, but there are supplements I'm coming to learn that we should be taking on a regular basis. Vitamin D is not one of them. I'm the only one who suggests not to take it. Here's the thing. People spend 93% of their time inside and sitting, but we lack vitamin D. So what do they tell people to do? Slather on sunscreen. Well, skin cancer's through the roof, but we spend all our time inside. I'm just very confused. Everybody's low in vitamin D, but nobody goes outside, yet skin cancer's through the roof, so they're having people put on sunscreen. I don't get it. Something doesn't make sense. But yeah, we can have a topic call. Yeah, whatever you guys. So put in the build the machine. If you guys have topics you want to talk about, just let me know. I want to make sure I'm covering what you want, not what I want. So when we talk about supplements, just if there's specifics, let me know. But I have my 5 that I make sure everybody takes. Cool. Thanks, everybody. I appreciate you spending a Tuesday night with me. It means a lot to hear me babble about my things that I've learned. So if you guys got nothing else for me, got nothing else for you, and I will see most of you tomorrow. Appreciate you being here, B. All right, y'all. We'll talk soon.
Have a good night.
You too. Thank you.